Hi everyone, Sandy here. Welcome to my channel. Today in this video I have a quick and easy photo frame album that I designed for Country Craft Creations using Simple Stories Say Cheese at the Park paper collection. It's really easy to make. I actually made it out of leftover papers from my previous project with this design team package, and I'm going to show you how to make it. Stay tuned. Let's go over the supplies, basic supplies real quick of what I'm going to be using to make this Simple Stories Say Cheese at the Park quick photo frame album. It's an 8x8 cover with 7.5 by 7.5 size pages. There's going to be 3 pages with pocket sleeves in here. It will have the L hinge, so we're not going to be making a hidden hinge. It will have the L hinge that is attached or scored with the pages. The reason I'm doing this one is because I did get these frames in my design team package, but I wasn't able to use them in this main project because of the size of the album I did for the pop-up. So I have 5 of these. I use just this one here on the front for my shaker, which I love, love, love that album. But I wanted to use these frames because they were in my package. So I thought the best thing to do was to make a quick album. So I'm going to try to do a real quick tutorial on this. I don't have a lot of pattern papers left, so I'll be using some and probably mixing in some of my colors for solid pages here in this book along with the frames. So here you'll see my notes that I start off with when I design an album. Now in the past I have done typed cutting guides that you could go into my Google Docs and print up, but I realized that it takes me so much time to do that. It takes away the time that I could actually be using to create a new project or design another tutorial or do a tutorial for you. So I have started putting them across the bottom of my screen. You can pause the video and copy that down real quick, and I have found that I have less errors that way. When I was typing them, you get the typos and things like that. So this way, when I'm editing my videos and putting in the typed screen measurements, I'm actually hearing myself and double checking with my notes that I have everything correct. So I like that a lot better. So it's just real easy. Just hit pause when that's on the screen, and you can just jot that down into a notebook where you will have that for when you want to make the project again or when you want to come back to it and make it. So here I have my basic supplies. I'm using lightweight chipboard. You're going to need 2 pieces of 12 by 12 lightweight chipboard to cut out what you need. You're going to need 9 of the Artisan cardstock. I am using black, 9 sheets of the 12 by 12 Artisan. And you're going to need 3 sheets of the 8.5 by 11 score tape sheets to cover the chipboard to assemble this. So I have all that, and I'm going to run down the measurements for you real quick. So I'm going to set this aside so I can see it up here. First up, for your cover, you're going to want 2 cut at 8 by 8 and 1 at 2 by 8, and the same size for your score tape sheets. You need 2 8 by 8s and 1 2 by 8. So that's for the cover. Then also for the cover from your cardstock, you're going to need 2 that are 10 by 10, 1 that is 5 by 10, and 1 that is 3 by 8. And on this one, you'll also need a 3 by 8 of the score tape sheet. For your base pages, you're going to need to cut 3 that are 8 by 7.5 and 3 that are 8.5 by 7.5. And I will do the scoring. I will put that on the screen, the scoring, when I'm doing the scoring. And then, of course, your frames. That if you got the package of frames, I'm going to be using the 5 frames that I didn't use in my main project. Now then, for the cover, I'm going to be assembling this off camera because I have a video, separate video that shows you how to do the cover. You use these measurements, create your cover, and I'll put the link to that up there in the corner and also down below in the description if you click on more if you don't know how to make that. This is the real basic lay flat album cover that I use all the time. It's the same one that Tamara uses with Country Craft Creations, and she was the designer, the creator of this method. So go ahead and make your cover wrapped in the cardstock of color of your choice. I'll be using the black, and then we'll come back here and start working on our pages. Okay, so you have your album cover made. It should look like this, whatever color of cardstock you chose. If you open it on the inside, you have your support piece attached down. You need to make sure that you used score tape to attach it down completely solid so it doesn't bubble or anything. You'll notice it's a little more narrow here. It stops short right here, just a ½ inch on each side. That's because I didn't want to waste any of my cardstock. So that's why I cut it down to that size. But this is fine. It's going to be covered with paper here on the inside when we get around to that. And so I'm going to set that aside, and now we're going to work on our base pages. These are the hinge pages. I have made these for quite some time, and I've had no trouble with them, especially when you make them out of the good cardstock, out of artisan cardstock. You know, some people are afraid of them, but I really like the hinge. It's really easy, and if you're doing a quick, simple album, it's great. So you have 3 pieces that are cut at 8. Let's see which ones we got. 8 by 7.5. Pretty sure that's the right one. Just double checking. 3 that are 8. Yes, by 7.5. Okay, those are the base pages, and then you have 3 that are 8.5 by 7.5 that are your pocket sleeves, which makes your page stronger, thicker. So you're going to take your base page, and we're going to make the hinge. So you're going to put your 8-inch side in at the top, and you're going to just score at a ½ inch. This is your hinge. Score at a ½ inch on all 3 by putting the 8 inches at the top and scoring at a ½ inch. Okay, so that is our base pages. Let's do the scoring on our sleeves, and then we'll do our folding and burnishing. So you take your 8.5 by 7.5, put your 8.5 in at the top, and you're going to score at a ½ inch and at 8. Do the same on all 3. 8.5 in at the top, score at a ½ inch and at 8. And one more. 8.5 at the top, score at a ½ inch and at 8. Okay, so that's our scoring. Let's get the mat again, and we'll do our folding and burnishing. Now on the sleeves, you're going to fold, burnish both facing each other. So you have a hinge or a ½ inch on each side like this, okay? So you do that on all 3 of those. Fold and burnish really well to get that fold on there. Third one. And then for our base page, we simply fold and score a single score line. And I do like to score one way, fold it back, because this is a hinge, and then again. I have had those who are concerned about the fold, it being a hinge, to actually put clear tape on that fold line, and that's an option if you feel that that would make it more stable. I don't do that, but that is an option, especially if you're not using artisan cardstock, because with artisan, I have no fear of it really cracking or tearing. So I'll go back and forth, get a good fold, Get a good hinge on here. Okay, and then we're going to put these together before we put them into the album. Okay, so now let's take a base page and a sleeve, and they should fit. Fold your hinge under. This should go on the top. Be the same size as your page with the fold at the top and at the bottom. So I'm going to put one together with the glue, and then I'm going to speed up the camera and do the other two. So glue on each 1/2 inch. You can do one at a time if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and do both. So like this. And I'm going to lay this one edge right along the fold. I'm going to open up my hinge so that it does not get glued down. Forgot to tell you that. So line this up. Make sure it's lined up on the edge and also on the ends. And then, so I open up that hinge, the L hinge, so it's just not glued down into that. You don't want to glue it up. That would not work. Okay, so I just work it and then burnish it. Both sides to make sure it sticks down really good. And so you have your L hinge here. So when it goes into the book, to seal this up so that we have a sleeve pocket, I just open this up and run a small line of glue right to the inside of that fold line and wipe up any excess glue and burnish that down to seal that up. So now we have a sealed page with a hinge already attached. Okay, so just make sure that glues down good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other two. Let's speed up the camera now and go ahead and do that. Okay, so now we have these in, or the hinges, the sleeves attached, and we have our hinges. So we're ready to put these in the book. Now, if you want to pattern and decorate your pages first before putting them in the book, you can do that. I am going to go ahead and put mine in now. And I've designed it so that you should have a 1/2 inch to the front and a 1/2 inch towards the back along the fold. And then you should have about 1/4 of an inch top and bottom. So I'm going to fold this hinge back like this. I'm going to put the glue on my hinge. And glue works better because it makes it stronger. It holds in the book better. And then you're going to place this down so that you're to the inside, the spine area of the fold line. Put your cut line along the edge of that. Get it as straight as you can. 1/4 of an inch top and bottom. I'm going to drop this down so that I can see that I am straight. I'm going to clean off any glue that's come out and burnish this down. Really get a good burnish in here Fold this back and burnish. So I have this first page in, just like that. So I'm going to leave it laying like that. Take the next one, butt it up so that it has that 1/2 inch in between. Fold this back, put my glue here on this hinge piece right here, the 1/2 inch. Straight edge of the hinge goes along the fold of the last page. Make sure they're lining up. I kind of like to fold it down, make sure that they're straight, even all the way across. Clean up any glue that comes out. And burnish this with it laying flat. And really let that dry before I put in the next page. Okay, so let's just wait a few minutes and let that dry. Okay, so once it's dry, we're ready to put the last one in. You'll notice when it folds over, you have a 1/2 inch of the first page laying to your left here. Now this one should be able to go ahead and put it in the same way, and you have about a 1/2 inch left between the page and the fold. So fold this back, put your glue on your hinge. So you'll find that L-hinge pages are really easy to do. If you have trouble doing the hidden hinge, you might want to give these a try and see how you like it. Okay, again, line up the cut edge of your hinge to the page that's already down, and I'm going to hold it and burnish and just kind of let it fall so that I can make sure everything's straight, and then bring it back up and finish burnishing it with my bone folder. And this way I can clean out any glue that seeps out and just burnish it really well. And whoops, mine slipped a little bit. So I'm going to reposition it, double check again. Clean that glue off where it moved and burnish. There we go. Hold it up and burnish. Okay, so now we want to let that dry. And while you do that, I want to go ahead and start planning your patterned papers for your cover and your pages and all of that. So I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll come back. And also I will clean up any glue that I think will show with my eraser just by going through and erasing dry glue off. So let's let it dry and then look at our pattern papers and see what we want to do for that. So I chose this red with white dots. I had a full sheet and over a 1/2 of a sheet left. So I was able to cut for the front, back, and the spine. I did add in 2 sheets of white artisan cardstock. So I cut the mats at, and you can cut yours, have whatever margin you want, but I cut mine at 7 7/8 by 7 7/8, and then the red dot is cut. I wanted more of a margin at 7 5/8 by 7 5/8, and then the spine is cut at 2 inch by the 7 7/8, and 1 3/4 by the 7 5/8. So that's the outside of mine. So that's what the pattern papers that I had enough of to cover this. And then I opened up the inside, and I'm running short. I had a whole sheet of the balloons, so I cut 2 pieces for the top part of the inside cover at 7 3/4 by 6, so I could get 2. So here on this section here, we're going to put a pocket. So you take another sheet of the black artisan cardstock or whatever color you're using and cut 2 pieces for pockets that are 3.5 by 8 7/8. Then we're going to score each one by putting the 8 7/8 in at the top, score at 1/2 inch, and 8 3/8. And if it's easier for you, you can just turn it and score. But then I'll show you. Score the 3.5 inch side at 1/2 inch. So in other words, you put your 8 7/8 in here at the top, score at 1/2 inch, turn, score your bottom edge at 1/2 inch, and then score the other end at 1/2 inch. So you can do it that way if that's easier for you. And then we're going to miter. So take your scissors, miter cut right across where these 2 score lines intersect. Just cut right there. And right there. So that mitered those 2 corners on each pocket. Go ahead and fold up and burnish. When you do that, you shouldn't have any overlapping on your corners. And then this is going to fit right in here. And so you would look at your scraps and see what papers you have for your front of your pockets. I'm going to look real quick and see what I have. Okay, so for mine, I picked up the black dot and I cut 2 pieces that are 7 3/4. Yep, 7 3/4 by 2 7/8. I'm going to go ahead and glue these on and then put the pockets in. So let's glue these patterned papers to our pockets. So that should be about 1/8 of an inch margin. If I cut them right. Very narrow margin on there. Okay, burnish that down. Okay, let's go ahead and get the other one covered. And I am leaving the edges of my pockets straight. You could punch a thumb notch or an angled cut or tab cut, whatever you want, or decorative punch, if that is what you would want on yours. Burnish that down, but I'm leaving mine straight. Trying to keep this a real simple album. So now we're going to put the glue on our 1/2 inch attachment flaps. And fit this down to the bottom of the page or the cover, and then line it up here on the sides and burnish those down. And now we have a pocket here, and we'll put one here on this cover as well. So next you are going to go ahead and pick out pattern papers. If you don't have enough for your pages, you can piece some together, or you can use different my colors that match the collection or the paper that you're using to cover all your pages. And then I'm going to do mine off camera, and then we'll come back on the video and I will show you putting these frames in. Okay, so there's the pockets. Now also, after I'm finished with scraps, I will pattern these sections here in between and between the pockets, the cover, um, the ½ inch sections between the pages. So I'm going to go ahead and pick out my pattern papers and get all my pages covered. So you need 6. And then also you will decide if you're going to make inserts or not for your sleeves. My pages are patterned, and I ended up having enough leftover paper to pattern fully each page. So I did the stripe here, the blue dots here, this kind of black plaid, the castle, tickets, and the circles. So they're all different. I'm excited that I had enough to do that. Now I'm ready to put my frames on. So I'm going to use foam strips. These are by Waffle Flower, and you can pick these up from Country Craft Creations. These are the 1/8 inch thick double-sided adhesive strips. So I haven't opened these yet. But let's get some out so we can do the frames. The reason I want to use the foam strips is so that I can lift them up so that you can easily slide a picture underneath. So these come in different widths. So I'm going to turn this over. I've selected my frames. This one I want on the first page. So I'm using the wider ones here. So they're sticky on both sides. You just pull one up, and I'm going to put one across the bottom, straight as I can from side to side, and then just snip this off on the end, and probably use that little piece right there. Grab another one. Really, really sticky. So that's good. Okay, but they're sticking to me. These are great for shakers if you want to make your own shakers too. So that works going all the way up. I said I'm going to do them as straight as I can. And then another one here. This side. Up. And I need a piece of one about 1 inch long. So I'll put that right there. And then once you have that on, press them down, make sure they're stuck good. And then I'm going to peel the backing off. So you don't put one across the top, because that's where you would want to slide your picture in. Whoa, sticking to me. Pulling some glue off my fingers. Should have went and washed my hands. Okay. Take my pokey tool and hold it down. Okay. Peel this off with my pokey tool. Okay. And the other side. These shorter ones are harder to pull up. Okay. If you don't have a pokey tool, maybe use the tip of your scissors or something, tweezers or what have you. Okay, so now I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to center it the best I can here, eyeballing it. Okay, press that down, and there is frame number 1. Now I noticed I only have 5 frames, so my last page will not have a frame on it, but I can put a photo mat or something like that. So there's the frame. Cute, cute, cute. So I'm going to go ahead and put all the rest of them on off camera, and then come back and show you and then decide what I'm going to put on the front and finish this little album up. Some decorating inside with what I have left over. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get all my frames in. I have all the frames in now, so let's go through them. We have this one on the front page, and then I have here, and I use that 1/8 of an inch foam on all of them so that it lifts up for the photo to go in. This one, I love how the castle is, and then I use this one that says having a blast, so it's got the fireworks like it's going off around the castle. This one I did have to trim down a little bit to make sure that it stayed within the page, but you really don't notice it, so that worked out okay. This I haven't done anything with, and of course I haven't done anything in the pockets. So next I'm going to do something here on the front cover. Now I picked out several, went through my leftovers, different cut aparts, and I came up with this one, and I cut some mats to go behind it. Say cheese, I like that. And then I have Magical Day and Woohoo. So I used yellow that matches Mickey's buttons. So I'm going to layer these up, and then I'm probably going to arrange them here on the cover like that. Okay, so I took a scrap of this camera that is 7/5/8 by 2, and I'm going to glue it right across the cover here. And I'm going to keep it all fairly simple because it's a quick, easy album. So we don't want to make it too terribly fancy with the decorating, but we do want it to be cute, right? So put those guys right there. This cut up arrangement I'm going to put here on the top, and then the other one, the Say Cheese, I think I'm going to pop up with some foam. So let's put the glue on this one. Okay. Whoops. Get glue all over myself. Kind of angle it like that. So we see some of the cameras peeking out down there. You get my bone folder and burnish that. I want to make sure it stays down good. Magical Day, woohoo. And then see this, and I left it longer down here like a Polaroid. So this is going to sit here. So let's take some of this foam that we have. Go ahead and use some of it. I've got it here. Like I said, this is some super thick foam, which is good. That means it's going to stick really well. Got some skinnier pieces here I'm going to use. It doesn't have to be completely solid, but you know, a good amount. It's a good idea. You want to make sure it doesn't sag or anything. So got tape there. And then I'm going to put a piece, I think, in the middle. Of course, I could use, you know, like foam squares, but we've got this handy. Okay, so now I'm going to peel this off, and we're going to stick this down just about like that, just so it's not poking off the edge over here, but it is popped up, has some dimensions. So let me go grab the things from my stash. So I got my Disney buttons, and I used 3, the hand, all ears, and magic, glued them on the front. Then I took some of my stickers, some of the words, I put meeting the mouse, 100% magic, and let's go that tucks up underneath, and then mousing around down here on the bottom of the Polaroid piece. And I love how that looks. It's real nice, clean, no tie closure, because I thought I'd just keep it really simple this way. Nothing on the back, so we've got it like that. And so we open it up. Now on the inside, I'm just going to decide, you know, tuck some things in, like in the pockets. I may add this to to a larger piece of cardstock. So I'm just going to go through and find different things, maybe use some of the stickers here and there if I have a place for them. Finish decorating this up. And also, if you want to make inserts here for the photo sleeve pockets, get my ruler real quick, and I may take some cardstock and make a couple of these. So if it goes all the way into there, and I want it coming out, I'm going to start with about 6 1/4 by 6 3/4. I'm going to see how that works. So hang on. Okay, so I did cut this 6 1/4 wide by 6 3/4 deep. And that just slides right in. I'm going to do one for each page. And it sticks out just a little bit so that when you close your book, it doesn't stick out all the way. And I'm going to round the corners here on the bottom, because sometimes that just helps to keep it from getting bent or anything. So it just makes it so that you know that goes in like that. And then on the ones that are sticking out, I think I will do, let's see here, maybe a stub punch. Yeah, let's do a scallop punch on that. Kind of give it a little decorative look just like that. So I'm going to do one for each pocket. And then I will either decide if I want to put paper on it, on the edge or not. And I will add some stickers, put some things in the pockets. I'm going to cut strips of paper to finish this in here. All this I'm not going to do on camera. And then when I get it all done, maybe a little bit longer there. You might want to cut that 7 inches instead of 6 3/4. When I get it all done, I'll show you what I've finished, and we'll be finished with this really quick and easy album, quick photo frame mini album made out of leftover papers from the Say Cheese at the Park paper collection. So I'm going to get busy on the rest of this, and I'll come back and show you what I've done. Here it is, finished, quick, easy, simple little album, 8 by 8 with 3 pages inside and the L hinge here on the front. Of course, I've already showed you this, where I've added the metal buttons from my stash with the raised Say Cheese Polaroid. So I love how that's nice and plain and simple. You could add a bow or two if you wanted to, or a ribbon, whatever you want to do. In the pocket here, I added these 3 little cut aparts. These are the 2 by 2s from the collection. I made a booklet. It's I think it's 5.5 by 5.5 that you can put photos in. Park pass, added one of the metal buttons. This is like a Polaroid type tag, meeting the big cheese. What a bunch of characters. So that tucks in there. And then 2 tags from the collection. Of course, here we have the frame. I did add one of these sticker sayings here, gang's all here. Some of the ticket stickers with some of the epoxy flatbacks gems here. I added this in. I did add the camera across the top strip. I added punched out a circle of the circle paper to make a pull tab. So I like that. Flips over. Here's this one. I added this little, can I get your autograph? I added this is where the adventure begins. And then I added that scalloped black and white dotted sticker strip there. There's the other one with ride pass that pulls out. I used cameras on all of those. I did cover these strips here on the inside. I added the remaining sticker scallops here. I added a metal button here, Feel the Magic. And this one also has a pull tab. Put a black one in that one. And then I decided to leave this plain. It's a good place, depending on what size picture might go there. And on the back, it mirrors the front. I added a booklet, a 5.5 by 5.5, Go See Ride, another Polaroid type strip that says so much fun, sun up to sundown. So those go in the pocket. Oops. And then 2 tags here from the collection and the 2x2 cut aparts here on the pocket. And that's the quick and easy photo frame album that I designed out of the leftover papers that I had from my design team package from Country Craft Creations, featuring the Say Cheese at the Park by Simple Stories. It was a lot of fun, and I hope that you will make it. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and click the bell so you'll be notified each time I upload a new video. You'll be one of the first to know that it's available. Also, give me a thumbs up, and as always, shop at countrycraftcreations.com for your scrapbooking, paper crafting supplies. Thanks, everybody. I'll have another tutorial for you soon. I have enough paper, I think, from this little collection that left over that I'm going to make a few cards. So watch for that. Bye-bye.